Let's talk about the GTA market right now.
Things are still selling.
Expecting that lower interest rate.
People are getting a little more comfortable
So hesitant to get into the condo market.
because of their jobs still a little bit.
Are sellers holding firm right now?
Some are. Buyer feels they're going to be able to steal something.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Northwood Mortgage's Mortgage Den. We're here on June the 5th. With me here today is Steve Weisz, a real estate agent at Remax Realtron. Steve's been in the business well over 35 years and is a staple in our office and well trusted. And we're here to talk about the real estate market. Welcome, Steve.
Nice to see you.
Steve, let's talk about the GTA market right now. How are things? How are things compared to a month ago, a year ago? How's the market going?
Currently, it's turned into more of a buyer's market. We have a lot more inventory now than we did a year ago. In fact, approximately just over 30,000 listings as far as inventory, which is fairly high. And so it's a little bit different, but things are still selling. But it's generally a good time as a buyer to get in.
So do we have pockets that are moving and pockets that are not moving at this point in time?
Absolutely correct. So if you, as an example, were down in Casa Loma area or Forest Hill, those areas are still moving at their high end. And sometimes maybe in that part of the world, it's not as affected. Houses $1 million and under are moving better now because if you have something down, you can get in there. It's not much more than rent. And with the condo market, it is pretty soft. But if you're an investor right now with 25-30% down with the rates coming down, it's not a bad time to buy something that's existing, not waiting to be built.
You see it in the press right now where they talk about this real estate freeze. People are hesitant. Why aren't people buying right now, Steve?
A lot of it was caused, everyone was waiting around. We had the U.S. election. We've had our election. We've had the tariff things. And these things come and go like we had in COVID. For 3 months, the market was zero, and then it just took off. And for 2 years, then it got soft and back and forth. So people are worried a little bit about jobs, security. The interest rate, they're saying, maybe it'll go down a couple more times this year, so maybe they'll save a little. But if they bought now and closed in 2-3 months, they have a little savings. So that's part of it. And then there was also the government got involved in freezing foreign buyers, and that's a good part of our market in the condo industry as well. So that did not help, and that's going to be on for another year, I think.
Historically, the interest rates that we see right now are very much average, right?
Correct.
However, if you look back in the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen interest rates very, very low. And I think some of the consumers have become accustomed to expecting that lower interest rate. From your viewpoint, should people be waiting? I don't know if rates are ever going to go back down here, but obviously there's an offset between waiting for interest rates, and if that happens, prices are probably going to shoot up, versus buying right now at today's current rates. What's your take on that?
Everyone got comfortable with rates of even 2%, 1.9, 2.30, 3%. As you're getting down a little bit now, it looks like people are getting a little more comfortable. I think if they went another, they're hearing it's going to go down another 20 points or whatever, but they're getting a little more comfortable with that 4.4, 4.49, depending on what you take, and that's your industry. But they're starting to come around with that. And once people get used to it, and sometimes it could take us 6 months to a year or so, which is now past, they'll start opening up to it. And I see it with people purchasing now.
There's a lot of talk about the condo market right now certainly in the GTA area. It's struggling right now. You talked about the foreign buyers not being here. I guess a lot of it coming also from foreign students who are not being allowed. There's restrictions. What else is causing the issues with the condo market? These are good buys right now. Why are people so hesitant to get into the condo market?
I think they're hoping that it might adjust a little bit more because some areas, per square footage, it's very expensive, but there are excellent buys right now where you can buy something for, which I've just sold one, it was around $640 a square foot in a nice area, in Toronto. So some people are just a little hesitant, but if you buy something that's existing, you know exactly what your maintenance is going to be. You know exactly what your tax is going to be. So they're a little hesitant just because of their job still a little bit, and maybe it'll adjust a little more. And they're hearing there's so much inventory of condos, especially over semis and detached.
You're talking about people looking for maybe a slight adjustment, but it appears, or Are sellers holding firm right now on their asking price?
Some are, and they might be, and there's a little problem where you get like an inch away from both ends, whereas the buyer feels they're going to be able to steal something, and the seller feels they haven't been educated enough one way or another that there has been a little bit of adjustment from last year. In some points, it's only maybe 3%. Now, if you go outside the GTA, it's a whole different market. Hamilton and these areas, some of them have come down from 2022, 15 to 20%, and they didn't bounce back. But in Toronto, it did, or GTA, Richmond Hill, Newmarket are strong. So it's really only 2-3% in some pockets. And so it's just the buyer and seller need a little more education. You may get lucky and get one where someone just needed to sell because they're moving to Calgary or somewhere. But it's just a little spread there that they need to get together on. But houses are selling.
In your opinion, is this a good time to buy? Is this a good market to get into?
Definitely a good buyer's market. If you can get qualified and you have a down payment, the rates are a little better. I would definitely be telling someone to buy a house, especially a condo even, are good value because it'll start back pretty soon when people get comfortable. So I've talk to people about purchasing.
Steve, when we talk about the foreign buyers, I mean, obviously the ban is until the end of 2026. But, the press, the news, StatsCan, whoever you want to talk to, said they only made up 4 or 5% of the market. Is that 4 or 5% that important to, keeping things churning over? What's your opinion on that?
It's very helpful. Of course, it doesn't make the difference of the whole market. One of the analogies I use to summarize everything is, let's say a year or so ago, you have 10 houses for sale and you had 15 buyers or 18 buyers. So the multiples, and we still have the odd multiples going on now, but you'd have multiples. So now it might be that you have 10 houses for sale, and I'm using only as an example to make it easy, but 5 buyers. So you'd still have buyers. It's just you have a lot less, so you've got to be priced within that range. So when you say about foreign buyers, condos especially, and plus in Toronto, if you have something that's vacant, you got to pay huge tax on that. So that deterred some people as well. So that causes a problem. So you've got 5 buyers, you got buyers, so your seller has to be ready that they've got to be marketed differently or maybe adjust their price a little bit. Not a lot. And that 5 may start, when we get balanced, hopefully it gets up to 6, 7, 8, then you're into a balanced market. So we're not that far off. So that's why I say a buyer, if they're looking, it's a good time.
Now, you've talked about pockets that are hurting right now, and specifically probably the Hamilton area. I mean, they're very much tied to the steel industry.
Yeah, Hamilton, London, Ontario, Windsor, again, all major places, and even Cambridge a bit.
Now, what's causing this? I mean, obviously with Hamilton, it's the steel industry. You got the threat of the U.S. tariffs on their product, and so maybe there's possibilities of job loss.
Right. Yeah, there's a big part of it is job loss. And also, some of the prices shot up so much because a lot of Toronto buyers were buying, as a just simple example, I have something in Hamilton, and it was appraised at $1.2 million in 22. It's currently for sale for $980. It was appraised by 2 appraisers for $960, and it's not going off the wall that quick. So what happened is they increased so quickly. Someone bought the house for $560, and it goes to 1.2. It's just too much, and so it was out of reach. So it got pushed to where it's out of reach, and those markets are now adjusting to where they should be, and that house is probably a $960 house in this market.
A lot of institutions are now asking for their employees to come back to the office space. Royal Bank just announced a couple of days ago that they're expecting all their staff back in 4 days a week. Other businesses that we operate with, our business partners, are asking for their staff to come back in 3 days a week. How is that going to affect the outer lying areas, the Cambridges that you're talking about, the Kitchener-Waterloos, the Londons, that kind of stuff?
It will a bit, because I remember when COVID started and people were they were moving out towards Barrie, Caledon, and Caledon is a bit pricey, but an hour out or so, an hour and a half, so it doesn't affect them. And even if you come in once a week, it probably won't affect you that much, twice. But if you have to come in 4 times a week, it's expensive, and you're traveling on 407, it's expensive, and it's the way to go. So it'll affect the outer areas a bit more, and then GTA might get a little bit pricey again, but if they can buy back in.
So do you see that happening? Do you see them selling and moving back in, saying, traveling 4 days a week is just not worth it?
Well, if they don't have a family, just two people, the condo market may pick up a bit more because it might be unaffordable, or they'll buy something just outside of GTA. Again, they'll go to Newmarket, maybe Keswick is another good area, Sutton. So It's not so bad because now that the highways are a big deal there. And then, of course, Curtis and those areas actually do pretty well anyway. So It's not that far. An hour, people are pretty okay.
Again, Steve, thanks for coming in today. Really appreciate the update on the GTA market.
My pleasure being here. If I was anyone, like I say, if they were looking to buy some, it's a good time to start buying. If you're selling, still okay. If you're looking to move up in price, it's a good time because the gap, if you're moving up, will be less. So if you had a little condo, it won't have gone down as much, or a small house moving to a larger one. It's a good time to buy something if you want to bridge the gap, and that gets the market going too, because in the first time buyer will go to you and you'll bridge the gap to the larger home.
As you said, it's a buyer's market, so there doesn't seem to be as much competition. The bidding wars just aren't there for the most part, and this is a good opportunity to make a good deal.
I agree. It's a good time.
All right, Steve, thank you again for coming in today.
My pleasure.
And for all our viewers, it's northwoodmortgage.com. Reach out to us if you're looking to buy and you're looking to get help for arranging a mortgage. Please feel free to contact us.